I understand the providential set of circumstances that would allow a little Black girl who grew up on a pig farm in southern Alabama to be standing here today. I grew up in a house with no insulation, no running water. When my grandmother used to ask me to come and help her in the garden, I thought she just wanted to spend quality time with me. I had no idea it was for our survival. I tell my children often, because of the sacrifices of those who have come before us, both white and Black, we have an obligation in this country to live well. That if I am willing to put forth the effort, if I am willing to work, if I am willing to discipline myself, perhaps I won't be Oprah Winfrey or Bill Gates, but that in America, I can carve out a respectable life for myself. Every 4 years, Democrats come to minority communities with a bag full of promises: free education, universal health care, open borders, guaranteed jobs, guaranteed wages. I have had a front row seat of watching failed liberal policies literally devastate the Black community, that they are now presenting to the broader American culture with the exact same promise to leave all of us broke, broken, and bruised. They will cause me to look at my brown skin as though it has betrayed me in some fashion. I am not a victim. We are victors. If you want to eradicate income inequality, give someone a job, not another program. I believe politics is dirty by design. They intend for good people not to get involved. And for so long, good people like myself and you, we've been sitting on the sidelines. If you want to send good people to Washington, D.C., who will finally begin to represent you and your family, then I need your support. I am running for you to preserve this nation for the next generation. My name is Kathy Barnett, and I am running for U.S. Congress for the 4th Congressional District of Pennsylvania. I am Kathy Barnett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this ad. I understand the providential set of circumstances that would allow a little Black girl who grew up on a pig farm in southern Alabama to be standing here today. I grew up in a house with no insulation, no running water. When my grandmother used to ask me to come and help her in the garden, I thought she just wanted to spend quality time with me. I had no idea it was for our survival. I tell my children often, because of the sacrifices of those who have come before us, both white and Black, we have an obligation in this country to live well. That if I am willing to put forth the effort, if I am willing to work, if I am willing to discipline myself, perhaps I won't be Oprah Winfrey or Bill Gates, but that in America, I can carve out a respectable life for myself. Every 4 years, Democrats come to minority communities with a bag full of promises: free education, universal health care, open borders, guaranteed jobs, guaranteed wages. I have had a front row seat of watching failed liberal policies literally devastate the Black community, that they are now presenting to the broader American culture with the exact same promise to leave all of us broke, broken, and bruised. They will cause me to look at my brown skin as though it has betrayed me in some fashion. I am not a victim. We are victors. If you want to eradicate income inequality, give someone a job, not another program. I believe politics is dirty by design. They intend for good people not to get involved. And for so long, good people like myself and you, we've been sitting on the sidelines. If you want to send good people to Washington, D.C., who will finally begin to represent you and your family, then I need your support. I am running for you to preserve this nation for the next generation. My name is Kathy Barnett, and I am running for U.S. Congress for the 4th Congressional District of Pennsylvania. I am Kathy Barnett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this ad. I understand the providential set of circumstances that would allow a little Black girl who grew up on a pig farm in southern Alabama to be standing here today. I grew up in a house with no insulation, no running water. When my grandmother used to ask me to come and help her in the garden, I thought she just wanted to spend quality time with me. I had no idea it was for our survival. I tell my children often, because of the sacrifices of those who have come before us, both white and black, we have an obligation in this country to live well. That if I am willing to put forth the effort, if I am willing to work, if I am willing to discipline myself, perhaps I won't be Oprah Winfrey or Bill Gates, but that in America, I can carve out a respectable life for myself. Every 4 years, Democrats come to minority communities with a bag full of promises: free education, universal health care, open borders, guaranteed jobs, guaranteed wages. I have had a front row seat of watching failed liberal policies literally devastate the Black community, that they are now presenting to the broader American culture with the exact same promise to leave all of us broke, broken, and bruised. They will cause me to look at my brown skin as though it has betrayed me in some fashion. I am not a victim. We are victors. If you want to eradicate income inequality, give someone a job, not another program. I believe politics is dirty by design. They intend for good people not to get involved. And for so long, good people like myself and you, we've been sitting on the sidelines. If you want to send good people to Washington, D.C., who will finally begin to represent you and your family, then I need your support. I am running for you to preserve this nation for the next generation. My name is Kathy Barnett, and I am running for U.S. Congress for the 4th Congressional District of Pennsylvania. I am Kathy Barnett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this ad. I understand the providential set of circumstances that would allow a little Black girl who grew up on a pig farm in southern Alabama to be standing here today. I grew up in a house with no insulation, no running water. When my grandmother used to ask me to come and help her in the garden, I thought she just wanted to spend quality time with me. I had no idea it was for our survival. I tell my children often, because of the sacrifices of those who have come before us, both white and black, we have an obligation in this country to live well. That if I am willing to put forth the effort, if I am willing to work, if I am willing to discipline myself, perhaps I won't be Oprah Winfrey or Bill Gates, but that in America, I can carve out a respectable life for myself. Every 4 years, Democrats come to minority communities with a bag full of promises: free education, universal health care, open borders, guaranteed jobs, guaranteed wages. I have had a front row seat of watching failed liberal policies literally devastate the Black community, that they are now presenting to the broader American culture with the exact same promise to leave all of us broke, broken, and bruised. They will cause me to look at my brown skin as though it has betrayed me in some fashion. I am not a victim. We are victors. If you want to eradicate income inequality, give someone a job, not another program. I believe politics is dirty by design. They intend for good people not to get involved. And for so long, good people like myself and you, we've been sitting on the sidelines. If you want to send good people to Washington, D.C., who will finally begin to represent you and your family, then I need your support. I am running for you to preserve this nation for the next generation. My name is Kathy Barnett, and I am running for U.S. Congress for the 4th Congressional District of Pennsylvania. I am Kathy Barnett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this ad.
Hello, everyone. How are you guys? Thank you so much for being here. Our virtual BYOB. Today, we're talking all about reopening Pennsylvania, really just reopening our nation, right? And getting back to business. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about our protest that we had, our very successful protests we had this past Thursday. We're going to talk about those things as well. As usual, here's some little housekeeping. Please share this. Do a watch party right now. Hit the share button. Invite others to listen to what it is that we're talking about. We must be the wind beneath our own wings. The establishment side of the Republican Party is not going to be the wind beneath our wings. And y'all already know mainstream media is not thinking about us, right? They have their own narratives. They have picked their own winners and losers in all of this. And just like 2016, I believe once again that their finger is not on the pulse. They do not hear us. Do you guys feel like our leaders and mainstream media is listening to we the people? I personally don't feel like they are. So we must be the wind beneath our own wings. So I ask you to share this page, do a watch party, and let's get this thing started, okay? First and foremost, I hope you guys are not so much having a happy Memorial Day, right? Because Memorial Day is really a day of reflection, is really a day of taking a moment to be very sober about the cost that is paid often by fellow Americans to secure these liberties, to secure our freedoms, to secure our way of life. So I hope you are having not a happy Memorial Day, but a somber, a sober, a reflective Memorial Day. Okay, so let's start saying that instead of happy Memorial Day, say reflective Memorial Day. Somber, sober, thoughtful, intentional Memorial Day, because I think that's what our nation is lacking right now. We have whole generations of people who believe Memorial Day is, you know, a 3-day weekend, or that Memorial Day is a day of parades and flags and hot dogs and barbecues and, you know, all of that kind of thing. And we have completely lost the mark. And I believe that is reflective in the culture in which we're living in right now. The reason why people have no respect for the American flag, or for the cost of liberty, for the cost of freedom, respect for our veterans. So to those of us who know better, let's make that happen. Let me say, Scott Miguel, you are awesome. Scott says, you already have my vote. We need the people, or we the people need more people like myself representing them. You know, I have often said that the problem with Washington, D.C. is that they don't have enough Joe the plumbers, or Deb the hairstylist, or little black girls who grew up on pig farms representing the American people. Instead, Washington, D.C. has way too many Ivy League graduates and lawyers. That is the problem with Washington, D.C. It is a concentration of power of Ivy League graduates, most of them attending some of the same universities under the same professors. And so that's the problem with it. We need more people who are like us, who understand. Kevin, thank you. You're a longtime friend. I really appreciate you. David Lanahan, it is not happy Memorial Day, but thoughtful, reflective Memorial Day. But the same back to you, David. Joan, you are the best. I'm going to try to read some of you guys' comments. Lori Niddle, is it? Hi to you, and I am doing well. Ross, thank you so much. Wishing everyone a meaningful, I love that, Ross. Wishing everyone a meaningful Memorial Day as we remember those who have sacrificed their lives for our freedom. That is so true. That is so true. Stephanie says that's the truth. It is, right? I honestly believe it. Is that I am talking to more and more people. And, you know, and I'll get into this as we move along, but, you know, I'm constantly having conversations. I can see it right here, babe. I'm constantly having conversations with people about, you know, why it's time for us to get back to work, why it's time for us to open up our nation, why it's not a good thing that these politicians feel so empowered to just restrict our liberties to determine what is essential, what's not essential, right? Like they deem liquor stores and weed dispensaries essential, but churches not so much, right? Me going back to work and earning a living, not so much. That's not so essential. But weed, dispensing weed, right? Having an abortion and then going and to pick up liquor and some weed to soothe your thoughts. That's essential, but not other things that like church or being able to go back to work, right? Is not essential. What about if we had church in a Home Depot? Could we do that? Would that be okay? Since that's essential. But anyway, I'm talking to people, trying to help them, I'm trying to learn their perspectives. I'm trying to share my perspective to them. And I've had more and more people say to me, literally, I had someone say to me this weekend, you guys talking about us Americans, and this person is an American as well, born and raised right here in America. But, this person said, you guys, I know Americans, we love our freedoms, we love our liberties. She was saying it as though that was a bad thing. And said multiple times, as though me wanting my liberties and my freedoms and placing on my ability to make my own choices was a bad thing. But that's the culture in which we're living in. And so, we need to start having meaningful Memorial Days, right? Of understanding what the cost for us to have these liberties and those people who have sacrificed so much. So with that being said, let me pivot. And if you can cue up the first video, Vico, I would love for them to see just a little taste of what we experienced this past Thursday.
From the Court District, Kathy Burnett.
Because it was founded upon the greatest political document ever written, the U.S. Constitution. We are so blessed to be able to get out. We don't care. USA! USA! USA!
I don't know. Could you guys hear that volume okay? Let me know if you can hear that volume okay. But oh my goodness, the energy was palpable. People were energetic, excited to be out, I think, excited to see other people who are not related to them, but also just very determined. I mean, I met a lot of determined people. Stephanie, she's listening from Lancaster. Hi, Stephanie. Thank you so much for listening in. Gloria from Connecticut County, Alabama. What? That's where I'm from, guys. Connecticut County, Alabama. How amazing. That is so awesome. A Google user. Hey, what do you think about, okay, alcohol? Okay. So amazing. Oh my goodness, you guys. I could barely hear it. I know, Lori, I could too. But the point of that, could you hear the USA chant that went on for an extended period of time? It was so amazing to be able to, my campaign hosting that protest, calling people out to let their voices be heard. I mean, my campaign and I, we have realized that one of the biggest problems that we're seeing right now is that people like you and I do not have a voice in all of this. Have you noticed that? I mean, listen to mainstream media. How many? Laura Ingraham started last night on Fox News having bringing business owners onto her show, giving them a platform so that their stories can be heard. Tucker Carlson also onesie twosies, but but for the most part, right? What we hear in mainstream media are a lot of talking heads, a lot of so-called experts who are coming on and telling us their opinions of why we should or should not go back to business, go back to opening up our nation to some degree. You don't really hear a lot of people asking those of you who own businesses, those of you who have been laid off, those of you who have taken a significant pay cut. No one is really talking to us. It's a lot of the Cuomos and Dr. Levin and the Governor Wolfs, coming before the American people and giving their opinions about things, not really based on logic. And we'll talk about that a little bit more as well. Help me here, Gloria. Hope you went. Thank you, Gloria. Denise said we need another rally. Yeah, protest with you. Yes, and other candidates, please. I agree. B says she's from Westmoreland County. Your energy is, thank you very much. I'm praying for a victory. Thank you so very much. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just looking at this. Go to maplight.org and see all the Dean is taking. Yeah, all the dollars Dean is taking. I know people are taking a lot of money. People are raising hundreds of thousands of dollars. And how many of those people have tried to talk to you and tried to understand what it is that you're going through? And that is what our protest was all about. It was really to give you, those in District 4, Congressional District 4, Pennsylvania, a voice in all of this. We had a number of people at the protest who had signs stating that they want their jobs, that they're essential, that they want to get back to work. But we also had we were encouraging small businesses to put the name of their company there, the number of their employees, and all of that on there so that people can see who they are, what's going on, and all of that. And so this was really an opportunity for you guys. We wanted to give you guys an opportunity to have your voices heard, and that's what we were doing. Lori said we need another protest. That is needed, yeah, at some other time, not during the day unless it's during the weekend. I know, right? A lot of you wanted to be there. You were there in spirit and prayers, but not there physically. Yes, Denise, you hit the nail on the head. You really did. All people are essential. I know many of you mean well, but let me tell you, on my Facebook page, and I know you mean well, it was some people say, I want to be there at the protest. I can't be there at the protest because I'm essential. It was a number of people who were saying that I'm essential. I can't show up at the protest. And I know you mean well. And this comment that I'm about to make is not directed towards you, but I am essential to my family. My husband is essential to our family. I'm sure you are essential to your family. Me getting a paycheck, my husband getting a paycheck, you receiving a paycheck, it's essential, right, to your family. And that's another of, just a little bit of the arrogance that we've seen from some. Not all on the left, but primarily on the left, right? Like this arrogance of being able to decide who's essential, who's not. And according to Cuomo, again, remember when he said, if you're not essential, then maybe you need to go get a job that's essential? Again, it's just very arrogant. And a lot of what we're seeing, a lot of these things that our legislators are saying, they're making these decisions and showing very little remorse on the impact that their decisions are having on people's lives. Vico, can you show the second video? Let's see if you guys can hear this a little bit better.
This is not a partisan issue. This is not a Republican issue. This is not a Democratic issue. This is our issue. This is our country. We're not asking. This is to open up our nation. We're telling them. We're opening up our country. This is our country. This is not their country.
One of the things that is that resonated very much so with me is that this is all of our issues. Like you hear the commercials, we're all in this together. This is not a Republican issue. Reopening Pennsylvania, reopening our nation is not a Republican issue. It is not a Democrat issue. It's not an independent issue. It's our issue, right? This is impacting us. Over 30 million Americans unemployed. This is having a significant impact on all of us. I was listening to U.S. Health Secretary Alex Azar, who came out earlier this past week, and he said we will see an additional 65,000 lives lost due to suicides, due to alcohol abuse, drug overdoses. That means something. He went on to say that mammogram screenings are down by 87%. Colonoscopies are down by 90%. He said we see approximately 1.7 million new cases of cancer every year outside of this whole, COVID-19 experience that we're all living through. On a typical year, we see 1.7 million additional cases of cancer. He said we could already have over 300,000 or more undiagnosed cases due to this crisis, due to COVID-19. Why are our hospitals not allowed to be open? They say we're in this all together. But additional lives are being lost. Additional consequences are being felt. Child wellness checks are down significantly. Right here in Montgomery County, domestic violence has increased by roughly 10% just here in Montgomery County over the last 2.5 months. Right here in Montgomery County, lives, there's a lot of consequences, and a lot of people are not talking about that. Thank you so much, Dulce. I appreciate you. Denise said it should not be it should be a bipartisan. This is a bipartisan issue. Why aren't the Dems working for us? They must all go clean up all over PA. I mean, I am hoping that people are beginning to see the very clear divide. You have those states that are generally liberal, right? That are exacting a great measure of control right now and don't want to open up our nation. And then you see those that are more red, the governors are Republicans, and they are looking at, a different strategy of reopening, whether just opening the door wide open or just moving very quickly through the phases to reopen. We're seeing a very distinct a clear distinction is being made on the two parties right now, right? Those who lean primarily liberal and those who are a little bit more conservative. And I mean, what we're experiencing right here, let's just focus on our own backyard in Pennsylvania. This thing is feeling very much like socialism, right? One of the stories you hear in socialist countries is how no one has toilet paper. That's exactly what we experience right here in Pennsylvania and all across the nation with the whole toilet paper debacle. But that's a lot of the things that we're experiencing. And I keep asking people, especially those, the Bernie Sanders camp, Democratic Socialists, the Warren, the Elizabeth Warrens. I mean, and those particular people who want greater and greater government control. I mean, this is what greater and greater government control feels like. How do you like it? Do you guys like it? I mean, do you like what you're feeling right now? Because this is the taste of socialism. This isn't even full-fledged socialism right now, but this is a really good taste of it. So we had the rally last Thursday. It was, I mean, the energy was palpable to see you guys out there, to see the flags waving, to see all of the engagement. And to see that people are so very determined to get their lives back. I mean, it was very emotional for me. And again, the point of all of that, the point of our protest was to get people a voice, to give them, to use our platform with this campaign, to lend some of our platform to you so that your voices could be heard. And so I'm very excited about that. I know you guys are just talking so much. Let me see. Remember, Dean was on the impeachment committee and illegally impeached our president of the United States. Dean voted against Kavanaugh and stood up for, yes, Blasey Ford. Kathy must win. Dean's no good. Yeah, you know, I mean, personally, I agree. Personally, I agree with that assessment, right? Russ, Bono, and thank you, Russ, Bono, and Norristown Police, Montgomery County Sheriff Department. Yes, I want to give you guys a huge thank you. The Sheriff Department was so good. You guys are just amazing. The Norristown Police, Montgomery County Sheriff Department, thank you so very much for all that you guys did for us at that protest. I felt very safe. I felt like, I mean, these people don't play, right? They're all about their business. And I'm very grateful that you guys were there and that you were lending your skills and allowing us as Americans to be able to exercise our First Amendment, right? Because we have the right to protest. Now, let me get back on track with this whole reopening Pennsylvania, you know, because as I thought about it, I mean, many of you have heard my story. I often say I'm a little Black girl who grew up on a pig farm in Southern Alabama. And I say that to say, I mean, I know what dire poverty feels like. I grew up below the bottom rung of the economic ladder. I remember, if I pause, close my eyes, and think about it, I remember exactly what it felt like. The innumerable times, more than once, more than 5 times that I've stood in front of an empty refrigerator and not knowing where my next meal was going to come from. I mean, I remember that. And I worked very hard. I remember, you know, in college, scraping up 35 cents to buy a bag of chips. And that was my dinner for the evening. I remember that. I know what poverty feels like. I know what lack feels like. And I worked very hard. I disciplined myself. I read everything I could get my hands on. I tried to follow some basic rules of living. You know, marrying one man, having babies with one man, you know, cleaning up my credit, just being financially, you know, trying to learn how to be financially, you know, wise. I mean, I grew up where, you know, literally you rob Peter to pay Paul, right? I know what it feels like to not have my lights on. And growing up in that environment as a young child. And my story, although the nuances, the details may differ from yours, the reason why this whole reopening Pennsylvania is really striking a nerve with me is because I know the sacrifices that we have all had to, for the most of us anyway, right, have had to practice. The things we had to do in order to build a life for ourselves, and then to have these, you know, with great impunity is what I'm looking at when I see Governor Wolf going before the mic, calling people like, you know, State Senator Doug Mastriano a coward, someone who I believe served 7 tours of duty, a coward, right? Someone who, you know, have gone on the front lines and fought for our liberties. He is calling them a coward, right? Because we've sacrificed, and because I know what it feels like to sacrifice, it pains me to see that with the stroke of a pen, these feckless and reckless, and I believe downright negligent and incompetent, I know I have a lot of adjectives for them, leaders, with the stroke of a pen, is choosing winners and losers in our society. I mean, that's unthinkable to me. One, because I served 10 years in the military, and I remember making a very conscious decision that if I was called to lay my life down for this nation, I would. And is this really what I would have laid my life down? That we have these feckless leaders who, on, you know, just on a whim, are making up rules that literally infringes upon my liberties, upon your liberties, right? Telling me you can't go to church. I'm gonna take down, you know, in some states they were threatening to have police officers come and write down license plates and to report them to the health department, and then they were going to come to you. Really? Is this what I would have laid my life down? That we're now living in a society where this is allowed? And then also, you know, I'm just thinking, I mean, how challenging, how difficult, how much of a sacrifice that I had to make in order to be able to carve out a life for myself, to where my children do not know what it feels like to stand in front of an empty refrigerator. I mean, I worked very hard to make sure that my babies would never know that feeling of what it feels like to stand in front of, I mean, literally an empty refrigerator, and trying to wonder, you know, figuring out, well, what are we going to eat? I worked hard for that. And I know that you too worked very hard for that. And it's very upsetting to me. I mean, it pains me. It's very personal to me that our leaders, you know, are so silent on this. It's like this eerie silence. It's almost unnerving how silent our leaders are. We have the president talking about it, but you hear very few people that we've elected to represent us, to be our mouthpieces, actually talking for us. I find it very unnerving. I find it very dismissive. I find it very intolerable that with the stroke of a pen, these people are willing to take our livelihoods. I have literally had people cry in front of me because they're about to close down their businesses. I've seen grown men break down crying because they're scared. They're about to lose it all. And that's unnerving to me. I mean, where is Madeline Dean? I know she's trying to say that this is a federal issue, but we elected her. I didn't, but y'all voted for her. Many of y'all voted for her to be your mouthpiece, to speak for you, right? I mean, she has position and power that I don't currently have, that you don't have. And is she speaking for us? Where are they? Our state representatives here in Montgomery County. It's very eerie how silent people are being right now. And I find it quite disturbing. Let me see what you guys are saying. Kevin says it's all about power and control of we the people. Rebecca, we are not souls to them because they have their money and power. It's just evil. I mean, honestly, let me see. I don't know. Bruss on Instagram wants to know, when will I be able to do more meet and greets? I like the way you think. I love the way you think, because this is exactly what we need to be thinking. You know, so many of you on Facebook and on other platforms, you're asking, you know, is she just, you know, she's just another politician? Or who is she? Who is this Kathy Barnett? Listen, I had no intentions of ever running for politics. Zero intentions of running for politics, right? I mean, politics is dirty. If you read my book, Nothing to Lose, Everything to Gain, Being Black and Conservative in America, if you've read my book, which came out this year, February 4th, you can read it from cover to cover. There is absolutely no indication that I would be running for any public office, because it was not even on my bucket list. You know, some people say it was at the bottom of my bucket list. It wasn't even on my bucket list. I had no intentions of ever running for office. And then I'm sitting on the floor with my children. I homeschool my babies. I've homeschooled them for 6 years. And I'm sitting on the floor teaching geography, I believe it was. And the thought hit me, because as a homeschooling mom, many of you are now homeschooling mamas, right? Homeschooling daddies. You know, it is all consuming. It is overwhelming. And you give so much to your family. And we've made so many sacrifices, financial sacrifices, you know, all kinds of sacrifices in order to be able to homeschool our kids. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, what has it all been for? What are my babies about to inherit? As I look at our nation, you have Madeline Dean signing the New Way Forward bill, which is the new immigration bill, in January, and it literally redefines what it means to be an American. Madeline Dean co-sponsored a bill that decriminalizes the border. I mean, literally erases our border. I mean, the bill is just utterly ridiculous. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, what are my babies going to inherit? When it's my turn to hand the torch to them, generally you want to hand off to your children a society that is better than the one you inherited. And I'm thinking to myself, I mean, the only way my story takes place in America, from a pig farm to being an author, to being an adjunct professor, working in corporate America, being a commentator on different shows, speaking to millions of people, and now being able to run for Congress. Think about those leaps of doing that. My story only takes place in America, and it only takes place in America, the one that I inherited, right? The one that does not have a whole lot of obstacles for a little Black girl who grows up below the bottom rung of the economic ladder to be able to, to play by some rules, to keep her nose clean, to discipline, to, focus and learn, and be able to, claw yourself out of, the black holes. I mean, I have so many obstacles in front of me. And yet in America, I was able to, by the grace of God, carve out, a respectable life for myself. That story only takes place in America. And now I'm looking at what I'm about to hand over to my children, realizing very quickly that America, the one that I inherited, is quickly fleeting. And then the thought hit me, who am I waiting on to swoop down and save us from these liberals and their policies, their deranged policies? And the thought was, why not me? If not me, then who? And so for many of you who are asking, who is this Kathy Burnett? I am not a politician. I have no intentions of being a politician. I intend to serve you no more than 2 terms and then moving on with my life, because I think, the fact that people get into office and die in office, literally die in office, is another problem of our system. So I am pledging to you a term limit, right? I have no intention of accumulating power for the sake of controlling you. I want to get into a position so that I can give control back to we the people. If you don't like that, then there's probably something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with me. There's probably something wrong with you if you want to continue to do the exact same thing and expecting different results. You guys know what that's called, right? Yeah, I'm gonna let someone says it. No, I am not a Wonder Woman, Rebecca. I am just an American citizen who loves this country. I love my country. I recognize that my story only takes place here in America. Being in the military for over 10 years, I had a wonderful opportunity of traveling to so many different places in the world. And I understand why we have over 1 million people who come to this country each year and become legalized citizens. I understand what's so amazing about this country. And I'm willing to defend it. And I'm willing to stick my hat into the rings with a bunch of snakes and pigs, right? Politics is dirty. It is dirty. And I'm not even dealing with Democrats yet. I'm dealing with our own side. It's dirty. It's crazy. But I believe this nation is worth the fight. And that is what I'm doing. And I need you guys to help me get to where we want to be. We want people who represent us. Do you feel like you're being represented right now? Madeline Dean, try going onto her Facebook page and posting a comment. Her page won't even allow you to post a comment. How else are you able to talk to them when they condescend themselves and host some kind of virtual event where they hand select 5 of you to come on and ask questions? Did that feel like you're being represented right now? I mean, we need to do better. If we want better, we're going to need to do better. And that is what I'm offering. I'm offering you something better than Mad Madeline Dean. And for those of you who think I gave her that nickname, no, I didn't. She gave that nickname to herself, Mad. And she's mad about all the wrong things. Right now in Montgomery County, 88% of the deaths that we've experienced has taken place in nursing homes. That's anathema. I mean, it's so wrong. What's the insult, adding insult to this injury, however, is the fact that no one seems to be making a big fuss about it. Why is that? Why is it that that Madeline Dean is not calling for investigations? Why is it that none of our state representatives are really calling for an investigation on why? Yes, we have. I want to make sure I call him out again. The only one that I'm sure there are others who are, calling for this, but the only one that I've heard loud enough that it will catch my attention is State Senator Doug Mastriano. Other than him, and he's way up there in Franklin County. But other than him, I haven't really seen a whole lot of our state people or nationally people really calling for an investigation. We know the numbers, and yet no one is really calling for that. What we do know is that Dr. Levin mandated that these nursing home facilities that houses some of the most vulnerable people among us, people who generally have comorbidities, people who generally have a weakened or compromised immune system. Dr. Levine mandated that these same facilities take in COVID-19 positive patients. That's like putting the fox in the hen house and expecting all to be well, expecting to see some hens in the morning. No. And what Dr. Levine did I don't know if these were the desired results. I mean, what kind of, I'm trying to be nice. What kind of world is Dr. Levine living in? What kind of reality is Dr. Levine living in? To think that that was a good idea of putting a fox in the hen house. I don't know. Someone answer me. I have a lot of comments. I can't see them all. Yeah. When will AG Barr do something? Exactly, Jennifer. Exactly. Yes, Denise. Levin has to go. This was done. I don't know. Or the wolf in the sheep pen and thinking you're going to have some sheeps left, thinking you're going to hear. I mean, what kind of reality? I hope all of Pennsylvania is beginning to think outside of, what may be, socially, politically, I don't know, correct thing to do in our culture today, and beginning to ask the question, who in their right mind would think that was a good idea? And these are your moms, your dads, your brothers and uncles. Overwhelmingly. In fact, I have it right here. This was put out. This is from the House of Representatives, our House of Representatives. At the beginning of this month, it says to date, there was 3,106 deaths. 2,108 of these persons lived in nursing homes, personal care homes, and assisted living residents. That means 67.9% of those who have died lived in these types of settings. What settings? Nursing homes, personal care homes, and assisted living residences. So almost 70%. So for the state, roughly 70% of those who have died have died in nursing homes, personal care homes, and assisted living residences. How much of their death can be attributed to Dr. Levine and Governor Wolf's mandate that nursing home facilities take in COVID-19 positive patients? How much of that can be attributed to that? But here in Montgomery County, we're trending higher than the state at 88%. Also, in this same House of Representatives letter that came out, the Speaker of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, he put this out. There are 37,000 beds in Pennsylvania hospitals. As of today, at the beginning of the month, 2,572 of these beds were occupied by COVID-19 patients, which amounts to 6.95%. So less than 7% of the beds in Pennsylvania are being occupied by COVID-19 patients. Do you guys remember? I know it's been a while ago now. It feels like an eternity ago. But at the beginning of March, do you remember why President Trump came out and asked you and I to self-contain? You remember? I mean, I'm gonna give you guys time to tell me. Do you remember? While you guys are coming up, let me get to this. Yeah, Jones says, and Monaco is 88%. Hannigan says they should have looked into the care and treatment of nursing home patients. Yeah, I think now Madeline Dean is coming up with another bill for that. A little too late, right? Tanya, barely any media coverage about this. Barely. Why is that? Why is there so much silence? There will be lawsuits. I hope so. Media only support. Well, we'll see. If the nursing homes were a problem, why weren't the staff mandated to stay home as in a snowstorm? Yeah, I have no idea. What I do know is that at the exact same time, Dr. Levin was mandating COVID-19 nursing homes to take in COVID-19 positive patients. These same facilities were not provided adequate PPEs. I know that for a fact. I've seen it with my own two eyes. Still to this day, those who are working in these facilities are still wearing cloth masks, not the N95 mask that we've now all become very, very familiar with. Yeah, maybe onesie twosies, but I have seen with my own two eyes that not all of them are, and yet they're working in that environment. So yeah, Lori. So not an overwhelming. Yes, to make sure hospitals could handle the influx of COVID patients. Tanya Hankins, you win. Exactly. That was the reason. That was the reason our president came out in early March and asked us to do the patriotic thing, to look out for our neighbors. And it was he asked us to voluntarily self-contain. And we did it. And the reason is what Tanya said. Put that back up, Vico. To make sure hospitals could handle the influx of COVID patients. Exactly. So again, as of May, 2 months later, according to the Speaker of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, the number of beds that are being occupied by COVID-19 patients is 6.95%. He goes on to say there are only 539 patients in the hospitals on ventilators, which amounts to 1.46% of all hospital beds. So less than 2% of those who are in hospitals are, as a result of COVID-19, are on ventilators. Well, I don't even think he makes a distinction. No, the 539 patients in the hospitals on ventilators. So again, Tanya, you hit the head on you hit the nail on the head again, right? And that is, we were asked to do the patriotic thing, to voluntarily self-contain, so that we can give hospitals and others time to play catch up. Catch up of what? Catch up on the fact that they didn't do what they were supposed to do from the very beginning, right? Like they were supposed to already have this plan. I wrote an article out there, I think on Washington Times. You guys can go and look at that. It may be on our website at kathybarnett.com, but you can definitely Google that, where I talked extensively about Cuomo, for example. They told him years in advance, starting in 2007, that he should expect a pandemic on this scale and exactly what he would need. And he decided not to, right? They decided to use their budget to do things like, give illegals free education, right? To put their money on the things that liberals like to do, which is give a whole bunch of welfare programs to people. Liberals love coming up with more and more programs. And so that's how they spent their money. So we were asked to do the patriotic thing, to voluntarily self-contain, to close our businesses, just put our lives on pause, not have any, just stay at home and think about your neighbors, right? Stay at home, just do the patriotic thing for the nation, right? To give them time to play catch up, to give them time to make sure we don't have an influx. And lo and behold, you and I did exactly what we set out to do. Now, when we did that, they started moving the goalposts. Now it's wait. Now we need to flatten the curve. Okay, we stayed at home another month and we did that. We flattened the curve. Now, then they move the goalpost again and say, wait. We need to have protocols for every single interaction we will ever have, right? Okay, and now they continue to move the goalposts. Well, now we need to get these antibodies tests. Now we need to do contact tracing. Now we need to have a system of more testing. Now, right? So we're just continuing to move that goalpost all the way. And then you and I are sitting back saying, but I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my home. People are now standing in bread lines. We have over 30 million Americans unemployed. 1 in 4 Pennsylvanians are unemployed. So that's 25% of us who are now unemployed. And why? I have people saying, because this virus is very seriously. Georgia opened up about 27 days ago, right? Governor Kemp came out last week saying that from the beginning, over the course of their time of being open, roughly 25 days at that time, at that point, that the number of patients who have been hospitalized due to COVID-19 has dropped by 34%. That's what he said. We see South Carolina is opening, has opened. We see Florida has opened. So we see a number of cases where states are open and we're not experiencing the spikes that the Dr. Fauci's and the rest of them and mainstream media is telling us that we're going to experience. We're not seeing that. So why is that? Why can we not open? Because there's going to be a surge. Have you not heard of herd immunity? All of a sudden, herd immunity, liberals want to discount it and poo-poo it. It's real. Now, all of a sudden, they're talking about flattening the curve some more. We've moved beyond flattening the curve to now flattening economies, flattening homes, flattening livelihoods. We have to learn how to walk and chew gum at the exact same time. This is not just, they're giving us the false choice of either you want to save lives or you're some greedy capitalist pig and you're horrible. And we need to just cancel you out of the culture. That's a false choice, people. This is not about either saving lives or saving our livelihoods. This is about both saving lives and saving our livelihoods. I have always been pro-life. COVID-19 did not make me pro-life. We have a lot of liberals who have suddenly become pro-life. COVID-19 did not make me pro-life. I've always been pro-life. I've always valued people's lives, whether in the womb or at any other stage of life. And what I'm saying is, as someone who has always valued life, this is not, we can't solely talk about saving lives at the expense of saving livelihoods as well. What do you guys think? John, whose specialty was childhood obesity? To flatten the curve, right? So not overwhelmed. Nope, they're not overwhelmed. Oh, you guys, they're coming in so fast. Some nursing homes in Montgomery County are mandated to take harder COVID cases from other counties. Are you serious, Jeffrey? I don't know about that. I haven't heard that. Therefore, Bucks and Montgomery County number for COVID will remain constant. Are new cases reported daily asymptomatic or actually hospitalizations? I have no idea. This is about our health. This is about control. This is not about our health. I'm sure you're trying to say, or you're saying, Lori, and this is about control. I don't know. It feels very much like that. Seems like they don't value life at the beginning or the end. What did you say, Gianna? Seems like Democrats, liberals, let's say, don't value life at the beginning or the end. I think it's very unnerving how silent mainstream media is being right now. I don't like, dabbing and, conspiracy theories and all of that. I'm just pointing out what is the reality. It is very silent on their part of, mainstream media. our politicians. Yeah. One thing I've just been asked to say: incorrect ballots. Montgomery County Voter Services has mailed some voters incorrect ballots. If you are a Republican and have received a Democrat ballot, please complete this. There's a form out there. My team is going to have that out on my page. It can also, we're going to have the form and a link so that you can fill out the form so that stating that you received the incorrect ballots. I know this is going to be a hot mess, but again, liberals, Democrats, they're in control. So we'll see how all of that work. And again, this is not a partisan issue. Reopening Pennsylvania is not a partisan issue. It's not just impacting Democrats or just impacting conservatives. It is impacting all of us, and we need to all recognize that. Let me see. I think we had another video we wanted to show you guys. What about number 4, Vico? You know what? Can you do number 5, Vico? Put up number 5 since we're at the end here. Can't hear anything. Can you hear? Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Can't hear anything. But listen, we're at the end. Let me just go through some of the things you guys are saying. This is unbelievable. I'm definitely voting. I'm definitely voting in person. Yes, Tanya, vote in person. Listen, guys, although I am uncontested on the Republican ballot for the Republican ballot, I need you to go out there. I need you to show up in large numbers, and I need you to vote. Whether you're doing the ballot voting, I still need your vote. Whether you're going in person, I need your vote. Again, we need to make our own win here. Protest in Norristown. Where can I find details? We already had it, Janet. But if you will go to kathybarnett4congress.com and subscribe, then you will be informed on everything that we are doing. Yes, please go to kathybarnett4congress.com, and then you will be informed. We will be able to stay in touch with you. We don't have to rely on you looking at a Facebook post, but we'll be able to communicate with you directly, or on Instagram, or we're on all platforms right now. I think we're on several. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and I think pretty soon Twitter as well. Yes, Denise says she's voting in person. No mail-in voting for this guy. Okay, Marty. Jeffrey says, can a nonpartisan registered voter vote Republican in the primaries? I don't think so, Jeffrey. But definitely in the general, Jeffrey Scott, someone said no, it's a closed election. Yeah. But Jeffrey, are you a Democrat or a registered Democrat or independent? I love you guys. I do. Listen, I cannot win. Which means you're not winning, because if I win, you win. I can't say it any simpler than that. If you want the same, and I'm not hating on someone who lives at $1 million home. More power to them. That's the American dream, I guess. I don't know, but it is it's very noticeable that these Ivy League people who are lawyers, who are living in $1 million homes, are dealing with us with great impunity. They're not listening to us. They're not talking to us. You can't even go on Madeline Dean's Facebook page and post a comment there. It is very telling that they just want you and I to shut up and do as we're told. Keep calm. Keep calm. We're doctors, we're the experts, we're the lawyers. We know. You just sit at home, to the extent of losing your livelihood, right? Because of course, Madeline Dean, she's coming up with one welfare program after another to give you. And as a Black person who has had a front row seat at looking at the Black community and what these welfare programs have done, these liberal policies constantly promising that they're going to make life easier. Look at Black communities. Look at minority communities. their lives, their life, because I'm not living in those communities. I grew up on a pig farm. I got out of that situation very rapidly and wanted to do something completely different. But I can assure you, the lives are not better. The schools are not better. The streets are not better. The homes are not better. The family structures are not better. And now these liberals using COVID-19 is about to issue welfare, repackaging welfare, and now they're going to give it to the rest of us. They're not going to call it welfare. They're going to call it direct cash payments. Yeah, that's what they're going to call it. But trust and believe, it's welfare. Earl from Florida supporting you. Okay, guys, I'm going to have to go ahead and leave. It's been so wonderful talking to you and reading your comments. Jeffrey, you're an independent. I need you. I do. I do. I cannot win this without soft Democrats and independents. Liberals, I mean, talking to a liberal is like talking to a rubber band. You know, you just stretch, 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 and you think you're almost there. You almost got them seeing the light, and boom, they go right back into shape. But you know, but we can pray for them, right? I mean, I used to vote Democrat as well. So many years ago, over 20 years ago. But again, that's because I'm Black. And in the Black community, there's a lot of legitimacy to the saying, if you're Black, you vote Democrat. I often say I was born into the Democrat Party, just like I was born into brown skin. And then I began to see the world and understand how things work and began to expect more for my vote, right? You want my vote? What are you doing for me? And you guys saw Charlemagne, the radio host, was questioning Biden, and he was asking the same thing. You know, I want something for my vote this time. And what did Biden tell him? Well, if you're going to vote for Trump and not for me, all you need to know is that you ain't Black, right? Because that's how they treat the Black vote. And that's another segment. I'll talk about that. I'll go in on that pretty soon. Right now, just want to leave it here. Thank you guys so much. But listen, I need you to donate. I need you to go to KathyBarnettForCongress.com, KathyBarnettForCongress.com, and I need you to donate. Whether it's $5, $10, $20, $2,800, $5,600 is what I can receive in total. I need you guys' support, and I need it now. If you want me, if you want something new, if you want something better, if you actually want someone who's going to represent you, then I need you to contribute. If you live here in District 4, I need you to contribute and volunteer. So make sure you subscribe so that we can keep in touch and we can talk about the various needs that the campaign has. Okay, guys, blessings. Talk to you soon.
I understand the providential set of circumstances that would allow a little Black girl who grew up on a pig farm in southern Alabama to be standing here today. I grew up in a house with no insulation, no running water. When my grandmother used to ask me to come and help her in the garden, I thought she just wanted to spend quality time with me. I had no idea it was for our survival. I tell my children often, because of the sacrifices of those who have come before us, both white and Black, we have an obligation in this country to live well. That if I am willing to put forth the effort, if I am willing to work, if I am willing to discipline myself, perhaps I won't be Oprah Winfrey or Bill Gates, but that in America, I can carve out a respectable life for myself. Every 4 years, Democrats come to minority communities with a bag full of promises: free education, universal health care, open borders, guaranteed jobs, guaranteed wages. I have had a front row seat of watching failed liberal policies literally devastate the Black community, that they are now presenting to the broader American culture with the exact same promise to leave all of us broke, broken, and bruised. They will cause me to look at my brown skin as though it has betrayed me in some fashion. I am not a victim. We are victors. If you want to eradicate income inequality, give someone a job, not another program. I believe politics is dirty by design. They intend for good people not to get involved. And for so long, good people like myself and you, we've been sitting on the sidelines. If you want to send good people to Washington, D.C., who will finally begin to represent you and your family, then I need your support. I am running for you to preserve this nation for the next generation. My name is Kathy Barnett, and I am running for U.S. Congress for the 4th Congressional District of Pennsylvania. I am Kathy Barnett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this ad.
My babies wanted to say bye, guys. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Blessings. See you next week.
I understand the providential set of circumstances that would allow a little black girl who grew up on a pig farm in southern Alabama to be standing here today. I grew up in a house with no insulation, no running water. When my grandmother used to ask me to come and help her in the garden, I thought she just wanted to spend quality time with me. I had no idea it was for our survival. I tell my children often, because of the sacrifices of those who have come before us, both white and black, we have an obligation in this country to live well. That if I am willing to put forth the effort, if I am willing to work, if I am willing to discipline myself, perhaps I won't be Oprah Winfrey or Bill Gates, but that in America, I can carve out a respectable life for myself. Every 4 years, Democrats come to minority communities with a bag full of promises: free education, universal health care, open borders, guaranteed jobs, guaranteed wages. I have had a front row seat of watching failed liberal policies literally devastate the Black community, that they are now presenting to the broader American culture with the exact same promise to leave all of us broke, broken, and bruised. They will cause me to look at my brown skin as though it has betrayed me in some fashion. I am not a victim. We are victors. If you want to eradicate income inequality, give someone a job, not another program. I believe politics is dirty by design. They intend for good people not to get involved. And for so long, good people like myself and you, we've been sitting on the sidelines. If you want to send good people to Washington, D.C., who will finally begin to represent you and your family, then I need your support. I am running for you to preserve this nation for the next generation. My name is Kathy Barnett, and I am running for U.S. Congress for the 4th Congressional District of Pennsylvania. I am Kathy Barnett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this ad.